Hey guys, this video is going to be a bunch of other paintings that didn't get into the first pendulum painting video that I made. It has a bunch of ideas for things that I tried out to add on to the paintings after the spirals were made. And the end of this video also has a bunch of ideas for future things I could do that are related to pendulum painting. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. So for this painting, the paint that I was using was way too thin. I put too much water into it. So I ended up with these really thick lines. It looked pretty cool initially, but it was so runny that it bled into the middle a whole bunch. I was also painting on just regular sheets of paper taped together, so when I went to take the painting out of the frame, it started bending and stuff and the paint ran a whole bunch more. Instead of scrapping this painting, I decided to start drawing the paint into the center to try and make something out of it because it was so runny. This let me make a cool eye shape that looked pretty neat, and I would definitely recommend this for an add-on to make your paintings look cooler. For my next painting, I decided to make another one where I was going to draw the paint into the middle again, but this time I did it on canvas, since the paint tends to soak through the paper, and it made it very easy to rip through when I was drawing the paint into the middle, so I was hoping the canvas would be a lot stronger and wouldn't rip. When I started drawing the paint into the middle of the canvas painting, I noticed that it started to resemble a tree a little bit, because all the spindly bits look like roots and branches, so that's what I ended up making it into. I think a tree ends up being a pretty good shape to make in the middle of it, just because branches look like branches and roots look like roots. Because I was using relatively cheap tempera paint, once the paint started to dry, it started to crack, so I decided to add a polyurethane coating to stop it from cracking even more. My first step for doing this was to brush and blow off all of the dust that had accumulated while the paint was drying. After that, I had to thickly apply the polyurethane onto the whole painting, and this seemed to wash out the color a little bit, but once it dried, the color came right back. Step 3 was to use a light to check for any missed spots and maybe some paintbrush hairs that fell off. I did find that once. And yeah, just make sure there was nothing in the clear coat that would mess up the painting. For a cheap canvas that cost much less than the actual canvases, but was relatively good and way better than paper, I used some foam core board that I got from the dollar store. This worked great for having a large, cheap, sturdy thing to paint onto, and it was also really good because when I went to draw the paint into the middle, it didn't rip like the paper did. For this painting, I decided to try making a scene in the middle. So I drew the paint into a tree, and then I painted in a moon and stars, which created a creepy Halloween-y scene that looked pretty neat. The following are a whole bunch of ideas that I had for ways that I could do pendulum painting like things in the future. So let me know what you guys think. I might do some videos on some of these. One idea I had was to do pendulum painting with different chemicals, and a little bit of a disclaimer on this one. I work at a place that has some people that are pretty knowledgeable about how to safely handle chemicals, so I can ask people the correct safety procedures. If you don't know the correct safety procedures to use with these, don't attempt these. So with that said, one of the things that I thought to try out was using sulfuric acid, because when you get it onto wood, it turns it black. So I was thinking I could make a pendulum painting with pouring a little bit of acid onto the wood and then etching it that black color. The second idea I had was to bleach a dark wood. So if you put bleach onto a darker wood, it makes it lighter. So it's kind of the opposite effect, where you'll get kind of a negative of the spiral onto a dark piece of wood. The second thing I thought about trying was doing a multicolor painting, and that could be done in two different ways. Either I could do different passes with different colors in the bottle, or I could try and divide up a bottle and then have 3 or 4 colors in the bottle and then make a pendulum painting with it maybe spinning or something. I've seen a couple of different ways that this is done, and it might be pretty cool to try. The third idea I had was to create a combination painting. So what this would mean was I used the spiral pendulum painting as kind of a background almost, and then I could make a galaxy painting or something out of it. It'd be similar to the one where I made a scene in the middle, but this one would be a little bit more in-depth, like I would actually paint something with a paintbrush in the middle or something. The last idea that I had was to try pendulum painting an object, so I could take something like a wooden vase, put it underneath the frame, and then pendulum paint on top of it, and that might make the cool spiral pattern onto the sides of the object. Which I could do that, and then I could let it dry, turn it over, and then paint the other side. That might turn out pretty cool. So there's all my ideas for what I could do with this concept in a future video. Let me know which one you guys would like to see, and I'll probably do it. Just leave your vote in the comments, I guess, and then yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the first one, and I will see you guys in the next video.